Hi and welcome to this how-to series for Huddo Boards. This is video 4 and I'm here to talk about deadlines and how to stick to them. So a couple of things to mention. Number one is today I'm in the HCL integrations for Huddo Boards. You'll see the ISW HCL profile at the top. And anyone who recently watched video 3, you may notice that I have removed some members, I've added a couple of additional colored labels, and I have already changed some of the dates. So speaking of dates, let's jump straight in. So I'm in Kanban view right now, in board view, and you'll see that there are already some kind of dates and calendar icons. So the clock icon and the date, this is a due date, and the calendar icon signifies that a start and end date has been added. So if I hover over a due date, you'll see that it is expanded. Obviously in the preview without hover, you will notice that there are dates showing. You can hover over it and it will give you the year. I'm sure for most people it's likely to be this year. But I think this kind of hover over functionality is especially useful for the start and end dates. So you can hover over any and see when they're starting and ending. This saves you needing to click on a task and expand it and see the dates here. So you can kind of see all of your dates within this kind of preview. One really super cool thing is actually the color of the due dates. So you'll see here it's a grey clock and date. So all of these grey clocks and dates, they signify cards where the due date is in the future. So 20th of May, 2nd of May, 31st of May, etc. You will notice here I have one that is orange. So it's an orange clock and an orange date of the 20th of April. So that is today's date. So this is telling me that I have a task due today. And equally, I have one here that is red, so a red icon and a red date. 19th of April, this is overdue, so this is showing me that I have a task which should have been done by now. So if you don't have too many tasks, this is an excellent way of just kind of seeing what's due in the future, what's due now, and what is overdue. But you may notice that some of the dates here, say 23rd, 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 I can already see around 5 kind of tasks here with a due date of the 23rd of April, and that's only 3 days away. So when you have quite a lot of cards, even though this kind of changing date icon is really useful, you don't really get a sense of maybe like what's due this week and what's due next week. So if you really like staying in this kind of Kanban view and you like the columns that you've picked, one thing you can do is add color labels and columns to help you manage these tasks. So you'll see that I've created one that's called important and due soon, which is orange, and one which is in progress and blue. So you see I've already applied these to some of my tasks. So essentially I can just filter and say, show me what is important and due soon. And I can see them here. Equally, I can see which ones that are in progress. So often by default, your filter will try to match all. If you untick this, what this does is show me any card with either a orange or a blue or both. So here I can see that, okay, SEO keywords is an important and due soon task, but it isn't in progress. Same as press release, same as Google AdWords. So this is kind of showing me that I have quite a few tasks that perhaps should be started because they are important. But even still, within this view, I have around 10, 15 cards here, and there's still an amount of kind of mental processing and thinking about the labels to kind of pick out what tasks I should be doing. So another way you can do it is just to create an additional column. Here I have one called critical tasks. I'm going to clear my filter and I can say, well, product in the menu is critical, the video is critical, and the homepage highlight is critical. I'm going to need a press release at minimum and some social media and maybe email to customers. So I'm saying that these are my critical tasks. Now again, if I kind of do my filtering and I go in and untick match all filters, you'll see that I have press release, this is important and due soon, and social media. And neither have been started, so I can say, okay, these are the 2 that I probably should be working on because they are important and I haven't started them yet. So as I've kind of gone through this process, you'll notice that the 2 dates I mentioned earlier haven't moved and they're in post-launch. So Sales Deck, the 20th of April, and the Google AdWords, which is overdue. Now I've identified them as perhaps not critical, and I have quite a few tasks which are due soon. What I can do is I can just maintain and manage these dates by saying, okay, let's buy myself a month and turn that to the 20th of May. You'll see that that's turned from orange to grey, and the same with Google AdWords. I can click here and I can say, move that to the 19th of May, give myself an extra month, and that's changed from red to grey. So although you may use coloured labels and you may use like columns as a way of kind of organising your deadlines and what you should be working on and what's due soon, it is quite important to maintain the dates that you set, because this enables other functionality. For instance, I can see now, what's due soon, what's in progress, and even some of the dates, if they've changed colour. But it doesn't really give me a sense of, what's due this week, what's due next week, what's due in a month, etc. But a view that uses these due dates to give you that is Boards and To Do by Date. So you'll see that I have none without a date, which is really good. I have none which are overdue now, but I have one today, some tomorrow, later this week, next week, etc. So this is kind of breaking down all of my tasks, so I get a sense of, when things are going to be due and how many are due when. Any people may have noticed, eagle-eyed people, that the important due soon color label and in progress is still applied. But I'm seeing tasks here that don't have any colors, or perhaps like this one, it has a purple color, but it has no orange or blue color. So this is because based on slogans relates to social media posts. So this is a subtask. And the subtask here, social media posts, does have both an orange and a blue label applied. So what I'm seeing is when I go to to-dos by date is not only my tasks, but all of my subtasks. So this helps me kind of manage all of my tasks, even though you may not see them in the kind of board Kanban view. So this is a really excellent way of managing dates as well. So I can see maybe later this week I have quite a few. Today I've only got one thing, so I might say, well, let's move press release forward a day. So now that's changed to today's date and it's changed the icon to orange. Or maybe later this week I'm like, these look like quite a few tasks, I'll move this one to next week. So I'm clicking and dragging tasks between these columns and it's automatically changing the due dates. So this is a really useful way of kind of getting the next level up of your project and kind of what is due and when. But there is even an even more powerful view in Huddo Boards, and I would say that would be timeline. So here you'll see the orange is today's date, and I can see all of my tasks and kind of their lifespan, if you will. So I can see that this is the start date and this is the end date. And I have showed this in other videos. Not only can I see these, but I can actually also change dates. So I can say, let's make that shorter, let's make this one longer, let's move this. So I can still kind of do this drag and drop functionality to change dates. But what I like is you kind of get a sense of all of your tasks and cards, and you can see, okay, right now I've got quite a few kind of in progress that are kind of ongoing. I've got quite a few that are due on the 23rd. I've got one here on the 30th, some this week here. So it kind of gives me this holistic view of what's due when and kind of how they all overlap. Also, the really cool thing I like about this is, let's say, I came to this in February and I'm like, okay, this project, and I'm like, well, all of these tasks related to this project are not before February or now, they're in the future. So I can click this arrow and it will take me to when my tasks start. So it's like, well, here are 8, but you actually have 8 more due in the future. And I can click that again and see even more. So this is really useful for kind of like, instead of infinite scrolling trying to find things, I can just say jump to today and it will show me today's tasks, or be like, jump into the future, show me the tasks that are, next. So this is really kind of useful functionality just to kind of skip through your tasks, especially if you have a project that's just quite long. I mean, here I started in March and I'm looking to finish in May. So in the sense of this timeline view, that isn't a huge amount of time, but you may have a project that may be 6 months or even longer, and then kind of using these arrows is a really useful way of clicking through your tasks. So yeah, this is, I would say, is the most powerful way of managing your deadlines and kind of the detail, high level of detail, and a real kind of broad, holistic view of everything. But of course, when I showed you the board view, the to-dos by date and timeline, they are all applied to a single board, my new board 1. But you may have multiple boards. So if you come out into the My Board dashboard, into to-dos and board, you'll see that here I have lots of tasks that are relating to multiple boards. So many are new board. You'll see here that new board, it relates to post-launch, and there is a customer webinar task, and there are Zoom backgrounds as the subtask. So here I'm kind of seeing a list of all of my tasks across all boards. There are some here which are overdue and without a date. Actually, for this instance, I can be saved because this is a demo board that we use for kind of customer calls or tutorials. So I'm included to show functionality, but it isn't actually a task that I need to do for my role within ISW. So I can be let off the hook with this one. But you'll see that if you use all the functionality I've mentioned, you are very unlikely to have any no dates or any overdue. Everything will be today or in the future. So I hope this has been a useful video to help you manage your deadlines. Thanks for your time and speak soon.